The Obsessed journey is a seriously life-changing spiritual adventure that everyone at Crossroads, even your kids, will be a part of over the next 6 weeks. Here's how to have an incredible journey. 1. Do a weekend experience. Visit a site or stream it, it's up to you. Details at crossroads.net. 2. Do your individual work. This happens on your phone in an app. Download the Crossroads Anywhere app and make this journey personal. Answer questions, watch videos, process what God's saying. Each week's work takes about 20 minutes. Totally worth it. 3. Meet with a small group. For weeks 1 through 4, meet up with friends on the same journey. Once again, the Crossroads app has all the questions to guide your group. You'll love it. Recap. 1. Go to the weekend or stream it. 2. Do the work in the app. 3. Go to your group. Go on the journey. Talk to God. It'll be great.
Every year, our church says, what is the most important thing that we can do to grow spiritually and improve ourselves? And we pull out all stops. We cancel things around here that might get in the way of that. We try to have the best weekend services we have all year. We try to get everybody in a group with great group materials. Try to get everybody things you can do at home. And we're really excited what's going to happen this year. This is sort of what we're calling week 0. It starts next week, but we're right now talking a bit about why we're doing this and an overview of what it is. Before we even talk about that, how fun was last week? I had an amazing time last week, an amazing time competing in the Super Bowl of preaching. It was very fun. We tried new things every year, and sometimes you try new things, it doesn't work. This year we tried new things, and it really worked. It was just a lot of fun. And then to go and maybe watch the best football game I've ever seen in my life, the real Super Bowl, that was great. And to have Chuck, yes, Chuck, the team that he's obsessed with, the Philadelphia Eagles. Way to go, Chuck. You should be happy. We all are. Who was happy the Eagles won? Yes. Hey, let's pray before I get into our topic here today. God, you're good to grow us, and that's what I'm asking you to do today. We could have been a lot of different places other than right here. But right here, right now, because we want to know more of you, and we want you to inform our lives and form our hearts. Help my words facilitate that process. And as best I can, God, I just want you to be pleased with what I say. And I pray these things according to the character and identity of Jesus. Amen. We are going to be talking today, and we're going to talk about it in a much larger degree over the next several weeks. We're going to talk about the topic of impact. Who wants your life to matter? Anybody? I'm just curious. Anybody want your life to matter? Okay, good. I think most of us really want our life to matter. And I've said a number of times before, and I just can't say it enough because I think it's a pivot point of history and should be a pivot point of our lives. The person who had the greatest impact with his life, bar none, not even a second come close. If you added up number 9 through number 2, their effect, it wouldn't come close to the effect of Jesus. He's the only person we date time after, BC era or CE era. He's the only person who started a movement that led to things like hospitals. All hospitals came through him and his followers. Led to public education. That led to orphanages. That led to, I can give you nonprofit after nonprofit, great institutions that have been started by followers of his because they wanted to have a massive impact, and he gave a map for how to have an impact and having a relationship with him. And sometimes how he had an impact was a little strange, like this passage we're going to look at in a little bit of depth later on. It says this in the book of Luke chapter 9, verse 57 and following. As they were going along the road, someone said to him, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, well, foxes have holes and birds, places they sleep, foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. And to another he said, follow me. But he said, well, Lord, let me first go and bury my father. And Jesus said to him, leave the dead to bury their own dead. But as for you, go and proclaim the kingdom of God. And yet another said, I will follow you, Lord, but let me first say well to those at my home. And Jesus said to him, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. Now, if we were to just read this with a clear mind, we would come to the conclusion, what a jerk face Jesus was here. This is like, people seem to be making reasonable requests. What a jerk face. Perhaps, we'll talk about that in a moment. What he was about having impact. You and I aren't about having an impact as much as Jesus was about it. He really was. You and I operate in four realms, and those realms all have various output or horsepower and churning impact in our life. All of us have things in all four of these categories or these four gears. You may have strategically put things in these gears, or by default, you have things that are in these gears. The first gear, in which you could take a look at our life and you could find we do things that are optional. I mean, we financially do things that are optional. We have time that is scheduled that is optional. We spend time with people's lives. It's just leaving our options open. That's what I like to think of. I just want to leave whenever you say, I just want to leave my options open, what you're really saying, what we're really saying when we say that is, I really don't know what I'm going to do. And I really don't know if I'm going to have any impact or if it's going to be of any lasting value at all. I'm just leaving my options open. And the optional gear doesn't really turn the impact, there it is, doesn't really turn the impact gear all that much. It's a really small, difficult gear. All of us have things that are optional. We just sort of fall into it. It's things that passively happen. It's things like 2 Sundays ago, I had a knock on my front door. I went and opened the door, and there was 2 cute little girls who were selling Girl Scout cookies. Now, my first thought was, Girl Scout cookies? I mean, why isn't this young person scout cookies? I don't know why we're making gender a big deal with the scouts. It should be young person gender scouts. So Girl Scouts came and trying to be a little humorous and perhaps offensive as well. But now they picked the right day to show up because I had just spent a whole weekend talking about how to be a great neighbor. I spent the whole weekend talking about helping your neighbors and being a blessing. A whole weekend. As soon as I saw those little rugrats with those order forms, I looked out to the street. I'm trying to see, okay, whose parents are these? Are these Crossroads people? Because certainly this has been a stakeout. Because someone's gonna sell a lot of cookies after what I just preached this weekend. See, the thing is, Girl Scout cookies for me, they're optional. Take them or leave them. Now, some of you love Girl Scout cookies. It's not optional for you. You're probably more into sugar. I'm more into salt. Sugar, take it or leave it. Doesn't really do a lot for me. I have an option right there. What am I going to do? I chose to give them a really good sell. And it was good. It was an option. Now next year, do I have in my budget or in my calendar, hey, Girl Scouts going to come by. You might want to buy some cookies. Probably not. No, Girl Scout cookies will always be optional. It's amazing. The Girl Scouts are really some good entrepreneurs. I ran across where some scouts were selling some of their cookies. They were doing it right outside of a pot store. That's really smart right there. That is really, really smart. Now, back when I used to get high, that would not have interested me. I was more into pickles and mustard. But, if you're into sugar, by the way, that was a long time ago. Some of you are really nervous right now. That was back when we used to refer to it as Rahuspy. You're going, who's Rahuspy? Who? Anyway, way back when. Now, here's the thing about getting high. We have all these debates about should it be legal, should it not. I think we can all, whatever your opinion, I think we can all agree that someone who has a regular rhythm of getting high isn't really interested in having an impact with their life. Getting high or getting under the influence of anything is about retreating and getting away from reality and really not being concerned at all about impact. The people I know who are regular users will never be accused of having a big impact with their life. Everything is optional. You may or you may not do recreational drugs, but there's other things that are in your life that we just have to ask ourselves, why is this in my life? Is it there because I intentionally chose it and it's going to make my life better? Or is it there just because, well, it's one of my options? The more things that are in the optional category, the less impact we'll have. The second category, second gear for us to live our life in is being ordered. If I were ordered, I would say, oh, okay, I like Girl Scout cookies. I haven't had anybody knock on my door for a while. This is good stuff. I'm gonna put it in my calendar, just be ready, budget for this because it's gonna come next year and I would like that. That's ordered. Or you're ordered if you're saying, working out is not optional for me, it's important for me. And if you say, so I'm gonna put it in my schedule for 3 times a week or for whatever it is, you order it. If working out is something that's optional for you, for sure you don't do it. Anything that's optional for us, we just don't do it, right? Optional, yeah, it's optional. I'm gonna be really well read this year. It doesn't happen if it's optional. You order it. You go, okay, I'm going to cancel Netflix so I don't have a temptation to not read. Or you do something like that to order it and make sure it happens. The Bible gives us a classic great entity that is good at ordering things, and that is the ant. In Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6, it says this, "Go to the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Without having any chief, officer, or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in harvest." So the ant's like, okay, I guess I gotta get little crumbs every day. I gotta order my day. I gotta get these crumbs. I gotta pull them all the way back to wherever the ant hive or whatever the ant mound is, whatever it is. Because if at some point these crumbs aren't gonna be here, winter's gonna come, and I gotta be ordered about my day. I've got to do a little bit. And when we start getting ordered, when we start putting things down in our calendar, we start putting things on the list, and we start intentionally planning about it, the gears start to move. It moves at a greater rate than it does if we're just optional on everything. Sometimes we can be really ordered, but we can not be even healthy. I've been in Crossroads now for, 21 years? 21 years? It'll be 22 years in March. No, I moved here, 22 years or something like that. And, for the first 15 years the Crossroads was going on, man, I was ordered. I never got into the office before or after 8. I want to be in by then. And I would never go home until it was 6:30. And all these holidays that you people would celebrate, I would scoff at you like President's Day. President's Day. Who cares about President's Day? I don't need to celebrate President's Day. It was like a badge of courage. I don't take those loser holidays. I don't do these things because I'm ordered. I'm ordered. I'm going about my thing, right? I got to feel. Here's the thing, though. What I learned, even I could be very, very ordered, but that extra time and blowing off holidays, it didn't make me more impactful. I end up taking those loser holidays now. I love President's Day. It's awesome. You mean it's a Monday and I can just not come in because the government says so? Great. Great. You mean I can go home? I can go home at 3:30? I can go home at 3:30. If I really can't see impact I'm gonna have from 3:30 to 6:30, you mean I can just go home? Great, I'll do that. Hold on, wait. You mean if I preach all weekend, I don't have to be in the office at 8 o'clock on Monday? Maybe I come in at noon? Great. It's like, because I started to realize just because you're ordered in your time and doing your whatever your thing is, it doesn't mean you're having a massive impact. We all know workaholics that aren't creating a lot of value, don't we? We all know workaholics that are at the office all the time, but the results aren't there. And by results, I'm not just talking about work results, I'm talking about people results. Here's a little secret. The most impactful people are the people who understand the greatest tool for impact, the greatest field of impact, the greatest weapon for impact is people. You and I will never be on our deathbed going, oh, I'm so glad I took off President's Day all those years. We'll never do that. You and I will never be on our deathbed going, oh, I'm so glad I did a 40K in under, or a 10K in under 40 minutes. Whew, I'm so glad I did that. Whew, we'll never do that. Those could be fine things to do. We'll never do that. We will be thankful for our life, and people around us, no one will say, oh, old Jim, I so wish old Jim was around, because when old Jim was around, he always binge watched Netflix and told me what was gonna happen first. I missed that about him. He was so ordered and watching all the news shows. No, people remember us. People are thankful for us, and we'll be thankful for our life if we have an impact on people. It all comes down to people are the only thing that will outlive us. People are an engine that will outlive us. People are a purpose, a meaning, a transcendent meaning that can do what no checklist can ever do. And oftentimes, when we're ordered, the first thing to fall away is people. And that's why when you're ordered, you're gonna have limited impact. Now, the next gear is sort of ordered on steroids. Next gear is ordered on steroids. It's a word that I'm hearing more and more. It is when we are optimal. So if ordered is, well, I've got these things. I know it's gonna, optimal is like, okay, I'm not just gonna do this, but I'm gonna try to pack it all in. I'm gonna try to put the big rocks in. And those of you who are optimal, you know exactly where I'm going with this illustration because you've heard this and you love this illustration. I'm putting the big rocks in, and then I'm putting the smaller rocks in, and then I'm pouring the sand in, and then I'm pouring the water in. I'm gonna optimize my life. I'm gonna have I'm into time planning, time management. I'm into all these things, and there's a time and a place for managing your time, for sure, to have impact. But optimizing is about, let me grab everything in this life I can. Let me be the captain of my life, the captain of everything, and I just need to optimize everything to the nth degree. And you may have a lot of impact here, but we just have to recognize what also comes with this is a lot of burnout, a lot of frustration, a lot of oftentimes hurt people. The book of Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good, acceptable, and perfect. So there is a spiritual force that's in our world that's trying to conform us, put us into a mold, make us like everybody else, think like everybody else, whether everybody else thinks of God, wants God, or doesn't want God. And one of the patterns of this world is, and you'll love this phrase, we want to live a balanced life. We want to live a balanced life. We want to make sure that we're optimizing, so we have our recreation, and we have our reading, and we have our friends, and we have our family, and we have our work, and we have our extracurricular activities, and we have whatever they are, whatever these things are, and we got to just make sure that we have the right effort, the right time, the right resources going into all these things. And we're feeling frustrated, we're feeling dry, we're feeling like we're not going anywhere, what is the thing we say? I just need to get balanced. I just need to get balanced. I need to get balanced. It's like, I think if I just get balanced, then everything's gonna be, here's the thing, when you get balanced, you can't have impact, because impact is actually about imbalance. There's never been a balanced person that's ever changed the world. There's never been a balanced person that altered the trajectory of the future. Never has been. Everyone who's had a massive impact has lived an incredibly unbalanced life, have chosen certain things I'm just not gonna do, I'm gonna suck at them. Certain things are just not important to me, I'm going to focus, and I'm going to have a life of potency here. Having a punch is all about putting weight into it, getting unbalanced. Driving a golf ball far is all about shifting your weight entirely. Building a business, I'm sorry, if you decide to start a business, give up the goal that year. Give up the goal that year of being well-read and working out. That will not happen, or your business will fail. I mean, we think that the optimizing cult would tell us that you can have it all and you can be balanced. And I'm just here to tell you, history is very clear. You cannot have it all. You cannot. You cannot. We cannot be well-read, reading a new book every week or every month for that matter. We cannot be well-read and work out 3 to 4 times or whatever you want, 4 times a week, and have a career that is growing and on the right place, and in a relationship or a marriage that's thriving and depends on spontaneity and stuff, and have kids that love us and want to be around us, and have a hobby that's totally fulfilling and really takes us to faraway places and helps us post great things on Facebook, and be on top of our garden and putting mulch out when it needs to go out and doing all that kind of stuff, and keeping up with all of our old flames from the past. Hope you're not if you're married, but I mean your old friends from the past, people you went to high school with, and playing fantasy football and being up on how you actually win that and I just go on and on. We think that we can do all this. We can't. Not possible. No, but the optimal cult will tell you, but look how much more you can get done. If you just try to make things, yes, you will get more done if you optimize, way more than if you're just ordering, and definitely way more if everything is just optional and you accidentally, passively make your choices. But I gotta tell you, optimal people tend to have very dry lives. They tend to maybe not watch a lot of TV. They tend to be really great on not having debt and having some savings. They tend to be really great of taking care of themselves. But oftentimes, the optimal person is just living a type A life that's helping them feel good about what they're getting that day and not necessarily creating a legacy and an impact on the world that always comes through people. Because how do you optimize people? People aren't optimized. It's like herding cats. Dwight D. Eisenhower said, "We succeed only as we identify in life or in war or in anything else a single overriding objective and make all other considerations bend to that one objective." What happens when you have an overriding objective? You make things bend. What he's saying is we succeed only when we're unbalanced. We succeed only when we don't dabble and become well-rounded. We succeed and have massive impact when we figure, okay, this is where I need to weight up. I'm gonna weight up here, and that is where impact comes in our life. What he would say, and what Jesus says as well, is we need to be obsessed. Utterly obsessed. When you are obsessed, you are so weighted in some area, hopefully a healthy area. You're so overweighted in an area that if it's the right area, my gosh, this flywheel just starts going. And because of the weightedness of your single overriding purpose objective, it just, man, your impact on your life. Once this flywheel starts, it just, it goes. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's the role and the plan that God had for all of our lives, to be obsessed in order for impact to happen. Now, there's a number of things in all these. You could have a number of things that are, oh, my little optimal fell down here. Sorry, optimal. Didn't mean to, oh, the whole bolt came off. Okay, we'll have to fix that for next, Someone's got to put Loctite in these bolts, friends. Come on. Everyone go to shop class here? Or let me put it up here anyway. Where was I? Start getting my inner gearhead coming out, and I lose my place entirely. I'm like, oh, I'm ready to work in the gears up here. That'd be fun. You know? What did I just say? Help me. Want to be obsessed. That's what I said, want to be obsessed? All right, that's fine. We'll pick up from there. Yes. Oh, I know what it was. Thank you, Sherry. I know it was. All of us have things that are, multiple things are in here. In fact, when we're obsessed, there are a number of things that you could be obsessed about even. For instance, a number of years ago, someone came up to me and said, man, you were obsessed about motorcycles. You're just obsessed. And I was really like offended. I was going, no, I'm not. I was like, as I thought about that and processed that, I go, yeah, I'll wear that title. I will say I'm obsessed, because here's some of the marks of when you're obsessed. When you're obsessed about something, there is no budget for it. You just like do it. It's like, Now, you can't be obsessed about everything, but if your kids are out of the house, you can have one thing that you're obsessed about because you have all kind of new money. And so therefore, like, if there's a motorcycle part I want, guess what I do? I buy it. I just buy it. If there's a new piece of gear, guess what? I just buy it that I want. If there's a trip, I just go because I can afford the gas. So I don't think about the Tome fare, but I just go. When you're obsessed, that's one of the marks. You don't, all the systems you might have for control or optimizing or ordering your life, they all just kind of go away. They vanish. A friend of mine was telling me just the other day, he has a little baby, and he was walking down the steps, and he missed a step, and he started to fall face forward down the steps, and he said, it's amazing, in the time of a split second, he said, all this is optional, meaning his whole body except the baby he was carrying, his child. He said, immediately, I'm thinking how I'm gonna fall. It doesn't matter if I crack my skull. It doesn't matter if I twist my knee. What's not going to happen is this child is not gonna get hurt the way I fall. He said, it's like instinctive, and he went, and it was fine. Why? You can't go, I'm trying to feel, do I love my child? What? No, you don't. You instinctively do what you're already obsessed with. You instinctively do that. There's no time for thinking. He's already settled. He's obsessed with the health of his child. And so in that moment, bam, I sacrifice my face, stitches, broken nose, whatever it takes. I would sacrifice it all because he's obsessed. This is how you know if you're obsessed. There's no price you wouldn't pay. It's just automatic. It just comes, and it comes over and over again. Now, one of the cool things is when one of your obsessions lines up, like I'll speak for myself, my ultimate obsession is Jesus. He's my ultimate obsession, which means that if I ever sense that he wants something gone, it just goes. It's over. Like if I ever sense from him that he's not happy with how much money I spend on motorcycles, or he's not happy with how much time I'm spending on trips, if I ever get a sense that there's someplace else he wants me to focus to have greater impact, then boom, be gone. And I've given up other things that I thought I could never give up before. And I have. Marijuana was one of those things. I thought I could never give up. Boom. Realized it's a God thing. Gone. Never been an issue for me since that time. And this is the way it is with being obsessed. And so even these things can then be used by God. So that's part of why I'm really excited about this adventure series we have coming up, where people are gonna find out that the thing you experience on a motorcycle trip and camping in difficult weather prepares you for the real adventure that you have in your life, whatever that thing is, in your business, in your family, in your recovery process, whatever it is. And I'm pretty geeked about it. We've had a bunch of video submissions for this series we're getting ready to do. 12 to 20 of the people who have applied are going to be accepted in the next round, where we're going to try to figure, okay, who's the next round until I think we get it to like 7 or 8 people or something like that. And here's 2 of the people who have been accepted in the next round. Check it out.
Hey, I totally didn't see you there. I'm Sarah Cooney, and this is my hog. Just doing a little work. I want to go on this adventure because, well, one, it sounds freaking awesome. Like Colorado, riding a motorcycle out there. I love riding, obviously, or I wouldn't have gotten my license. And honestly, most of the time I'm like, this thing does not go fast enough. It's like 55 top out. And in windy days, it gets a little iffy.
If you haven't noticed yet, I happen to be missing an arm, which happened about 18 months ago in a off-road motorcycle accident, which was rather tragic. So the biggest pain joy in my life at the moment has been dealing with that. Last year we tackled getting back on the off-road bikes, and we actually rode 7 of 9 of the National Enduro Series, culminating in a 3rd place overall victory in the 30+ C class. So that was my challenge last year. I got back on the bike. I was able to to show myself that it could still be done, obstacles can be overcome, everything in life can return back to normal, or at least a new normal, as we like to say.
Fascinating stories out there. There really is. And just hearing some of the stories that people are wrestling with, some of the adventures they're in, is really inspiring. And it's inspiring to maybe unlock a new level of spiritual growth for all of us that's going to come out of a series that is an obsession of mine. And I don't apologize for it anymore. In fact, it's one of the reasons I think I'm still healthy. I did a survey of all the people that I know who have tanked out of ministry, DQ'd out of ministry, tapped out of ministry. And one of the common characteristics, I couldn't find any common characteristics except for one. One common characteristic I found with all of them is all of them had an absence of a healthy hobby in their life. All of them had an absence of a healthy form of play and fun. They had no outlet. They had no outlet. They had ministry and work, and then they had, some was porn, some was alcohol, some it was, whatever it was, and they DQ'd. And I think one of the reasons why I'm more as excited and vigorous as ever is because I've got a healthy outlet for it. So you will have a number of different obsessions, perhaps. You can't have a bunch. You can't balance your obsessions. There will always be an obsession, but there can be kind of levels or gradations in there, but one thing will always trump it. Last week in the Super Bowl, it reminded me of a article I had read last year's Super Bowl, about the most underreported stories in football. And it was a panel of writers with Sports Illustrated who were getting together talking about what are the most underreported stories. And one of the most underreported stories they talked about was the role of faith in the NFL. They said this isn't about guys who come and they point up in the sky when they have a touchdown. We follow these guys, and from the water boy all the way up to the GM, the role of faith is significant. There's Bible studies that happen throughout the entire NFL, people praying with one another. They said it's a deep, vibrant faith, and we as reporters, we feel ill-equipped to talk about it. So when someone says, well, I want to give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the reporter diverts right after that because the reporter says, I don't know how to respond to that. Faith isn't part of my world. So I don't know how to report on it. I don't know the right question to ask. I don't understand anything. What's happening with these guys? They have an obsession with Jesus and they have an obsession with football. You can't be in the NFL unless you're obsessed. There's no way. You can't be in the NFL unless you're taking your supplements and working out as often as you are and finally tuning all of your biometrics and giving it. There's no way. No one who is balanced gets in the NFL and lasts in the NFL. But these guys, they're in the NFL and they see God as their higher authority, the thing that they're ultimately obsessed with, and they work really well with each other. Now, let's go to Jesus' words now, and let's go back and let's figure out what's going on. He says, hey, follow me, and someone says, well, first I got to, hey, look, if you want to follow me, just understand, you're not going to be able to have a pillow to lay your head. What's he saying? You have to be obsessed. You have to be obsessed. You can't start complaining about the lack of pillows, the lack of being in a hotel. You've got to be obsessed. Another guy says, well, I'll come, but first let me bury my father. Jesus knows that he's just lying. He knows this. In that Jewish culture, when someone dies, there's a whole process you need to go through to bury somebody. It happens pretty quick. This guy just kind of putting up red flag, like, I'll come. He says, let the dead bury their own dead. What he's saying here is, if you want to continue to be spiritually dead, then hang around dead people. Because right now, if you're really spiritually alive and you really wanted to follow me, you would be obsessed and you would make a choice and you would start moving right now. Chop, chop. Another guy overhears that this is happening. So he says, oh, well, I got to go back home. Let me go back home and check on somebody first. He doesn't use the dead line again. Let me go back home and check on somebody. And Jesus realizes, no, you're not obsessed. You're not really up for impact. You're not. You just want your old life. You want the life that you understand, and you just want a little Jesus sprinkled in. You just want a little spiritual potency sprinkled in. So he says, nobody puts their hand to the plow and looks back. They're just not fit. In those days, when you plow, you're holding that thing as the animal is pulling it through, and you want to find a stationary point and look at it the whole time as you're plowing your land. And in the process, you'll have a long, straight line. He says some people, they start off, they're like, oh, maybe I should go over there and play some football. Maybe motorcycles, maybe a library card, whatever it is. We just start kind of going around and we can't get anything done in life. There's no straight edge. And Jesus is saying, if you want me in your life and you want the impact that I can have, you will be about people. You will not be about your own goals. You will not be about your own degrees on your wall. You will not be about your own impressive biographies that you can put on social media. You will be about me, and I'm about people. I'm about getting people to God. I'm about transforming cities. Everything that I do, I filter through this. Why did I sign off and I'm excited about canceling services? There's not a lot of churches that go canceling services. We're canceling services that go local weekend because we want to have a bigger impact. I mean, really, like we all need another weekend to just come and sit in a dark room. We need another weekend wherever we are, Crossroads, anywhere, just sit there. No, we need to get out. And if we could not have one weekend to have tens of thousands more people deployed to bless our cities, to have impact, make that decision all day long. All day long, whatever it takes. Now, as we get ready to start this journey next week, I know that all hell, literal all hell, is going to come against you getting engaged in this because the ways of this world that are conforming you and I to a pattern does not want us to step up and be challenged. This world is completely content with you and I having an optional life that we eventually grow and order it and become really optimal. Our world, as long as we're here, we're all good all the time. Everything in our world will come against us. This is a spiritual issue. Will I follow the Spirit of God who's about people and about me having a life that works, me having a life that I'm thankful for, me having a life that when I come to die at the end of my life, whenever that is, I'm thankful for the life I lived. Other people are thankful for the life I've lived. And not only that, my life has worked. It's actually worked. It's been joyful. It's been meaningful. And for us to get to this place, we're going to have to unleash some unconventional weapons of warfare. And the most unconventional weapon of warfare is prayer. Because prayer goes to a spiritual place and starts asking for God to give us spiritual power and coming against an enemy that's trying to keep us in option land, to keep our options open. And so we're going to give you a tool, and I hope you take it. Very few people have ever been able to have this tool, but we're going to give it to you right now. Many of us are a part of Compassion International, where we pay money to Compassion and they feed a child for the rest of their childhood and they educate them. And we have their pictures on our thing because we're financially better off than them. We have more financial strength, and so we're helping them. So we have their little picture there and we pray for them. It's really a really cool thing. Well, there's people across the globe who may not be financially better off than us, but they're spiritually better off than us. And we've put those people on notice. The people who we have had an impact across for the last 21 years, people in South Africa, India, Nicaragua, Bolivia, just to name a few, have been communicated to, and they are sitting at the ready to pray for you and your faith personally every day. Here's the way you're going to do that. You're going to go to Selfie right now, selfie.crossroads.net. That's right, this is a real deal, selfie.crossroads.net. We are going to be taking these wherever you are. If you're in Seattle, if you're in Nashville, if you're wherever you are, do this. We have people, tickets booked. Like one person I was talking to, she's going to South Africa on Monday with 7 suitcases full of photographs. Just in South Africa. She'll have 7 suitcases, and she'll be taking a photo after we print them all out and handing it to a South African who has a vibrant relationship with God, and it'll be on the side of their apartment or their hut or their house. And they'll be praying for you every day for what you put in there. So here's you go selfie.net, selfie.crossroads.net. You'll enter in your name. You'll take a picture. You can use one that you've already used, or you can take one right now. You know, if you're going, I don't have a cell phone, what do? You can have your friend next to you do it. You can go into a lobby at a Crossroads right now. We have people out there ready to take your picture and do all these things for you. And you'll simply put down in there, where do you need in your life for God to show up? Some of you may have never been prayed for every day by name. Some of us in here, unfortunately, you may have never had anybody mention your name before the throne of God. It's pretty powerful that you're here right now and you're where you are in your life if no one's ever prayed for you. Imagine what it might be like if God unleashes a whole new thing that we're making happen for all of us who are part of our church right now. So you're going to do that, and that's about it. That's pretty awesome, though, isn't it? How cool is that? Isn't that cool? It's great. And then we'll just see what happens with God and you and what Jesus might do in your life as somebody starts praying for you. And my intent for today is to just start to prime the pump, to make us want something more than something over here in the gears, for us to actually want something that's the impact of obsessed. God, I thank you for being worthy of my obsession, being worthy of my affection, being worthy of my worship. Your name is great, it's beautiful, it's powerful, it's transcendent. It's the name that actually works. It's the name that has had more impact than any other name in all of history. And it's a name that I want to slot myself under with increasing potency. Bless every life that's here today. Help take us to a new place, to have impact that you've ordained for us. I pray these things according to the character and identity of Jesus. Amen.